With a 96-44 record and a .686 winning percentage, the 1983 Reading Phillies rank as the winningest team in franchise history. The club was so good that in 2001, it was selected as the 62nd best team in the 100-year history of minor league baseball.
They loved the game, they played hard, they played fast, they didn't fool around.
Reading had won its division by 18.5 games. It had 7 future major leaguers, Mike LaValliere and Darren Dalton at catcher. You had 2 catchers, one a frontline guy and one a backup guy. Both became starters in the big leagues. Not too many minor league teams can say that. Then you had Francisco Melendez at first base, Juan Samuel for half a season, of course. Everybody knows Sammy. You had Tony Gelfi, who went up briefly. You had Don Carmen. You had Jeff Stone, the league MVP.
Stone's MVP season included a .317 batting average, 67 RBIs, a league-best 109 runs scored, and a club record 90 stolen bases that is still far and away the most in franchise history.
Seeing him and Sammy, and for a brief time Bob Dernier came down. He came down from Philadelphia to work on his batting stroke, which had suffered for a while. To see those 3 guys run the bases and sitting in the press box and watching those guys, it was like a 4x400 team. That was amazing.
The fastest team in Phil's history stole 272 bases and scored 91 more runs than any other team in the Eastern League that season. About the only thing that could slow them down was the postseason.
3-game series, which, as you know, a short series, anything can happen. And 2 things happened to that team, and you've probably heard the stories. Dalton and Gelfi went up to the big league club. Jay Daverson, probably their most reliable pitcher that year, went to AAA. Melendez was fighting injuries and was really hurting. The second part of it is they ran into Roger Clemens. He was drafted that year out of the University of Texas, where he had pitched them to the World Series championship, had faced the Phillies, the Reading Phillies, in August and struck out 15. And so they went against him in the opener and they got beat. So now they're down, in a 3-game series, they're down. They came back and won the second game, and in the third game, one of the things that happened to that team, it was so uncharacteristic, is that their defense fell apart. I remember in the 3rd inning, their defense fell apart, and their defense had been just tremendous all over, from Dalton all over into the outfield. They fell behind 5-2 and ultimately lost 7-6. So even though they didn't win the overall league championship, that team was fantastic.
The Phil's amazing 1983 season, another of Reading's many golden moments.